Hey, in this video, I take you on a road trip with me to showcase my experience as an aspiring jeweler in South Africa. From the 16-hour road trip from Cape Town to Johannesburg, to all the gorgeous scenes along the way. I'm going to be showing all the high points and also the low, so I hope you enjoy this video. This video is actually like 2 weeks delayed because of all the madness. I probably average around 10 shows a year, so it can be crazy, and especially this time of year, like it's hectic, it's like go time. But I love this time of year. It's summer in Cape Town. Well, not quite yet, but soon it'll be summer in Cape Town. And yeah, the festive season is about to begin. There are many moving parts to consider when preparing for a show. From ordering miscellaneous things like packaging supplies, to printing various stickers and thank you cards, to making sure that important things like silver casting grain and chains arrive in time. And once I've ordered the necessary things, I usually forget a thing or two and need to get them last minute, but that's part of it. I then switch to creating mode. This means many late nights of casting metal, pouring resin, sanding, polishing, and just general finishing and packaging of the products that I aim to sell at the show. And then I focus on maintenance of my stand. This involves tightening loose fittings and sanding off scuff marks or just evidence of the shots the stand takes during transport. Sometimes I even need to replace whole panels or pieces. And once she looks semi-decent again, I wrap it and get it ready for the transport company, who comes and picks it up at my house and delivers it to my spot at the show. We used to drive the whole thing with various loose parts up, but this is so much easier. And after the stand is on the way, I like to pop into Adderley Street Market in town to pick up various dry flowers and leaves for the stand. This is always a very fun part for me, as I love the vibe and the ladies there are always so friendly. The night before the trip, we get the car loaded and try and get a good night's rest before the madness begins. This never happens though, because I usually roll around worried about what I'm gonna forget this time. And believe me, there will be something. So the next morning we set on a great adventure for the first 8-hour stretch of the trip to Colesberg. It was very rainy in Cape Town when we left, so I couldn't get good footage of the first couple of hours of the trip. And it was also around this time that I realized that it is very difficult to get good footage while in a car. That's my bad. I'm sorry. We went through Worcester, and then the first town we passed was Laingsburg, which is always a reminder that we are well on the way. After that we made it to Beaufort West, which means the first 5 hours are behind us and we need to push the last 3 hours to get to Colesberg. On our way we passed Three Sisters, which I think got the name from these hilly, odd formations on the landscape. That obviously resembles Three Sisters, like two of which seem pretty close, and then there's the other one a little distant, you know, just sort of aloof at times. Anyway. What was also sad to see was what it looks like just outside of Hanover, in the Northern Cape, which is the next town we passed. To the right, children are playing on a soccer field, and to the left, there's a lot of trash against the fences in front of their houses. This is only a couple 100 kilometers from Cape Town, and the contrast is noticeable. This is likely a service delivery issue because of a lack of infrastructure. Anyway, it is a sad reality of my country, and this is how many people live. Hanover marks exactly the halfway point between Cape Town and Johannesburg, so we are halfway there. We continued on to the one-horse town of Colesberg, where we stayed for the night. We didn't explore the town as it was already 5 p.m. and we wanted to get some rest before the journey continues in the morning. And there isn't a whole lot to see. It does have some nice old churches though. The next morning, we left the Airbnb at around 6:30 a.m. and hit the road. We must have passed, I don't know, 1 million anthills, a gazillion trucks, and a couple thousand windmills. Oh, and this gentleman on a horse. Until we made it to the city of Bloemfontein, which interestingly is the judicial capital of South Africa. The name also directly translates to flower fountain. Now, that's a big claim. And as much as we would have loved to see the flower fountain, we were on a mission and passed right through. So maybe another time. And as pampas started popping up onto the landscape in golden clusters, I knew that we were about to approach the city of gold, Johannesburg, Jozi, home to over 10 million trees and around 30,000 taxis. A city that has a special place in my heart. About 40 minutes later, we made it to the venue, and the real work began. This is usually very stressful, as I'm always worried about how the stand will fit together into the space, and if I remember what goes where and how it all fits together, or if anything got damaged in transit. The first part mainly consists of a lot of screwing, drilling, fitting, and adjusting until everything kind of fits well. And I have to say, my favorite part of setting up is assembling the dried flower arrangement around the sign. This means the worst is over, everything is standing, and that I can now focus on just making it all look good. Okay, so this is what the stand looks like just after fitting everything together. And then stocked with my products. This is a close-up of what I make, which is real flowers inlaid into resin and various pieces that I cast in brass and sterling silver. Setup is usually a 3 to 4 hour process, and in the end of it, the reality of another show sets in. It's like an adrenaline rush, and I start getting excited for the show to begin. And then the show began. This is usually very difficult to film and can be quite chaotic at times. But when there was a lull one afternoon, I thought it would be a good idea to ask some of my fellow makers what their favorite thing about being a maker is.
My favorite thing about being a maker is taking wool or yarn and crocheting a garment. I can play with it, make something out of just a string of yarn. So that's what I like about being a maker.
My absolute favorite thing about being a maker is taking something as simple as a sheet of paper and making something of it. So the fact that you can take nothing and create something from that. I can take paper and create an elephant with origami, a crane, a flower, whatever I want, whatever I can imagine, I can turn from nothing into something, and that's just exactly what I love about being a maker.
Okay, I think being a maker, for me, definitely meeting people and having to make amazing products that people enjoy. And being a South African maker, hello, love, love, love it.
These are people like me who literally make their products by hand from start to finish. And I will add links to them down below, so please do check them out. So my initial idea with this video was to showcase how amazing it is to be a maker in South Africa, the hard work that it takes and then the reward at the end of the show. But in reality, the show didn't go well for me. I didn't make as many sales as I had hoped or what I'm used to for this time of year. And unfortunately, that is a very real part of this line of work. I mean, it is an amazing feeling when someone buys something that you made. And on the other side of that, it can be soul crushing if a show doesn't go very well. And we need to account for that. But all was not lost in the end. I managed to squeeze in an extra outdoor show over the weekend, which helped with the cash flow. And it was wonderful to be around fellow hustlers. These people feel like family to me in a strange way. We always help each other whenever possible, whether it's checking each other's stand when they go for a bathroom break or getting something to eat, or splitting the costs of an Airbnb because we know what it takes to be here. We are like-minded people, and that's a nice tribe to be a part of. We also caught a Springbok game, and it was nice to be reminded of the amazing culture that lives in Joburg. I don't think there's anything my country loves more than the Springboks. I mean, Driekus du Plessis comes close, but nowhere near the Springboks. Go Booker! And then the show drew to a close after 6 days of trading, which meant the Sunday was time to pack up, which is a tough part. It's even tougher if the show was not very successful. But as the sun set in the background and the day turned into night, I felt extremely grateful because my friends came to help me with the last stretch of repacking when they were exhausted too and could have been home. The next morning, we slowly started the journey home. But we first stopped by my town of birth, Klerksdorp. My family still lived there, and it is always so nice to be able to see my friends and family whenever possible. And as we started making our way back, I was able to stop in the Karoo to collect the prettiest wild daisy seeds that I will definitely be incorporating into a project. I also thought I would make a pros and cons list of being a maker. Yeah, it's pretty unpredictable, and it's flippin' hard work. And I'm away from home a lot. And I often have to fly. And I hate flying. Sometimes things get damaged or lost in transit, and people can be less nice. Or they can just be themselves. And I also don't like talking to strangers all that much. But the pros, it's so fun. And maybe I actually like people sometimes. And the feeling you get when someone gives you money for something that you made. And the money, the cash. And then there's also my fellow makers and traveling through my beautiful country. And it's also a good opportunity for me to forage flowers and networking and seeing my friends and family. In the end, is it worth it for me? Yes. I love what I do, and I wouldn't want to do anything else. I love being someone who gets to make things every day, and I hope that I can do it for a long time to come. And then, as the landscape started turning from brown to yellow, and yellow to green, with every passing hour on the road, I felt an extraordinary sense of gratitude. Grateful that I get to do what I love every day, that I could see my friends and family, and that I get to call these mountains home. We made it just in time to see the last of the West Coast flowers in bloom, and then settled in for a well-deserved holiday. I'm joking. It's a week later and I'm about to board a flight to Johannesburg to go do another show for a week. Send help. If you made it this far in the video, thank you so much for sticking around. I really appreciate it. And I'm already working on my next video, so do subscribe so that you don't miss out on that one.
Oh, whoops, I didn't mean to get a video of this. Well, you can't park there!